Welcome. I am Bruce with Prep Hoops, your boys high school basketball content writer, exposure scout, and rankings expert. We are back from winter break. Tons of content, tons of things to talk about, including Tart Classic wrap-up, Las Vegas Prep Championship wrap-up. We were out in Albuquerque last week for the APS Metro Tournament, and we're going to talk this wild, unpredictable 4A division. Let's get started. December is one of my favorite parts of the basketball season. It's loaded with holiday tournament action, and nothing is better than seeing tons of teams and prospects under one roof. I was able to check out several different events this winter. Let's start right here in town with the Las Vegas Prep Championship. Big shout out to Coach Jason Wilson and his staff for putting together a fabulous 16-team tournament. Let me get right into the accolades. Congratulations goes out to St. Joseph's for taking home the title. St. Joseph's out of California was led by the MVP, Dre Roman, the 6'2 shooting guard who has already received offers from D2 schools like Fresno Pacific, was absolutely marvelous this weekend. Terrific frame. He was able to get all the way to the rim and finish in transition. He is a high-flying run and jump athlete, but what makes him intriguing as a prospect is his ability to knock down shots and catch and shoot action, especially from range. He was named the MVP of the event. Now, I want to give some love in this event to the Bonanza Bengals, and there's going to be a little bit more about Bonanza in this show, but Bonanza was able to make it all the way to the championship game. Let's give a little love to point guard Carson Roberts and wing Silas Gray, as both of those players were named to the all-tournament team of the Las Vegas Prep Championships. My sleeper from the event, he's a sleeper no longer, Dominic Williams, 6'5", small forward from Reed High School. Dude is going to be a problem for the next couple of years. He's only a sophomore. The class of 2024 wing was terrific, scoring with his back to the basket, but he also showed that he had a little floor game, putting the ball down and slashing to the rim. Good size, plays with a good motor. He was my sleeper of the Las Vegas Prep Championships. Now, I didn't just keep it local. I just got back from Albuquerque, where I was able to witness a fabulous APS Metro Tournament. Congratulations to Coach Greg Brown and the Volcano Vista Vikings. You know, I talked to Coach Brown early in the year, and I have never heard one person more focused on one singular goal than he was. He had put everything into getting his Volcano Vista Vikings back to where he believes that they should be, and it looks like they're on the right track. It was so much fun to watch them play. I want to first give a shout out to the MVP, Jaquan Hill. I don't remember you missing, Jay Hill. The lefty stroke was absolutely automatic this week, but more important than the play of Jaquan Hill was the ball movement from the Volcano Vista Vikings. If you have not seen this team play, they're probably one of the most beautiful teams to watch right now in high school basketball. The ball stays hopping. Each guy gets a touch, and they finish off possessions after multiple ball side-to-side reversals. It was so much fun watching them play. Congratulations again goes out to Volcano Vista for taking home the APS Metro Tournament title. The story of this tournament for me was the play of two fabulous freshmen. First, we'll stay right here with Volcano Vista. Kenyon Aguino. I know I've talked a lot about this kid since I've got a chance to see him in the fall, but what can I say? I'm just intrigued with the play. Local Las Vegas players may be familiar, local Las Vegas coaches and scouts may be familiar with this name. Aguino reminds me of a young version of Joshua Jefferson, who is headed to St. Mary's. Aguino is 6'5", has terrific feet. I mean, this guy's got multiple post moves, counters upon counters. There's not a lot of back to the basket big men. He has what you can call an old school throwback game, but with some new school skills. Finishes well over his left shoulder. Just a bucket down low. He's also almost becoming a must double type of player. That was Kenyon Agueno from Volcano Vista, who was absolutely fabulous this week. The other fabulous freshman I saw, got to give some love to my man Latavius Morris. We got to get Latavius a nickname ASAP. Dude is must-see basketball. His handle and wiggle can only be classified as elite for a freshman. He can put people on skates and mixtapes in an instant. Gets all the way to the rim. He's fearless. Gets to the rim, plays through contact. He was able to finish around the bucket over much, much bigger and stronger players. And then what makes him a highlight tape is his ability to separate from defenders and launch from anywhere. Morris was special this week. I thought he really threw his name into the ring as one of the freshmen to keep an eye on, not just in New Mexico, but throughout the entire region. And then finally, I want to give a little bit of love to my all-tournament team. As mentioned before, Jaquan Hill from Volcano Vista is going to take home my MVP honors. My first team honors were the aforementioned Latavius Morris, the 5'8" point guard from Atrisco Heritage. Caden Valdez, 5'11" point guard from Volcano Vista. Love Valdez's ability to drive, get to the lane, and finish. Exodus Ayers, the 6'2" combo guard from La Cueva, looks like a man amongst boys at some time. The class of 2023 combo has an advanced frame and terrific playmaking ability. Then Daniel Steverson, 6'2" shooting guard from Cleveland, class of 2024. I loved his ability to get into the lane. When he was getting to his strong hand, it was really, really hard to stop him. Terrific play this week from Daniel Steverson from Cleveland. And then finally, my first team all-tournament APS Metro Tournament team honors goes to Tony Pacheco. Who else? The 5'11" combo guard from Atrisco Heritage. Pound for pound may be the toughest player in all of high school basketball. Pacheco just wills his team to victory sometimes. He's a downhill driver who has terrific vision and was able to create for his teammates. So that rounds out my first team all-tournament APS Metro honors. Just to give you a heads up, for the complete APS Metro Tournament team honors, you can find them at Prep Hoops New Mexico this week. I will have posted the MVP as well as first, second, and third team awards. And now, finally, the tournament that we want to talk about, and essentially the game we want to talk about, the Tarkanian Classic, which took place right before the Christmas break. There were tons of players. Coach Dinos does an absolute fabulous job of not only putting on a tournament, but showing love to the college coaches and scouts in attendance. Big shout out to Dinos Trigonos for putting together another fabulous Tarkanian Classic. But it's only one thing I want to talk about. I'm going to say this, and because of the age we live in, I'm ready for the people to complain and to give their other opinions. But I'm going to tell you this. A handful of people in this country that goes to watch more high school basketball games than me. I have actually seen a high school basketball in every state in the United States except for the northeastern states, excluding New York and Hawaii. And the Liberty Bishop Gorman game for the Tark Classic Platinum Championship Final was the greatest high school basketball game I've ever witnessed in person. Let's break it down. First, the stakes. As I mentioned before, what could be better? You're playing for the championship in the highest division of one of the most coveted high school tournaments in the country. The stakes can only get higher if you're playing for a state title. Second, the rivalry. Liberty has been the closest thing to Gorman in both football and basketball for the last few years. So to have these two rivals meet for these stakes for this title only added to the game. Next, the location. The game was played in the House of Glory. Think about this. The Bishop Gorman Gales, 9-time defending state champions, get a chance to play for the Tarkanian Classic against their arch rivals at home. Then the comeback. At one point in this game, Liberty was up by 19 points. They were up by 16 going into the half. And despite that, Gorman was able to show all the resolve of a champion and make a run and come back. Then you can't talk about this game without talking about the double foul. Late in the contest, all-world point guard DJ Thomas, who at that point in time was basically cutting through the Bishop Gorman press like hot knife through butter, picked up his fifth personal foul on a very, very questionable double foul call, as he was actually on the offensive end of the floor. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time debating the call. You can go to Twitter, and I'm sure you can find plenty of people who have their opinions on whether the call was a good call or a bad call. What I will say is that the call changed the game, and the game changed immensely once Liberty lost its main ball handler. The next part of this game that made it so great, just two simple words: Joshua Jefferson. It came to a point in this game when it was no longer a championship game or even a high school game for that matter. It just became a pickup game with Liberty having the most dominant player on the floor. I mean, Gorman basically decided that they were going to double and triple team Jefferson and basically see if he could just win the game by himself. And to Jefferson's credit, he damn near did it. He was absolutely phenomenal. The 6'8" small forward showed terrific wing skills. He was the first to the boards for every single rebound. He was able to finish around the rim. He knocked down 2 clutch free throws late in double overtime. He was everything that a high major college basketball player should be when he's playing in a big time high school basketball game. It was an absolutely phenomenal performance. I don't remember the exact total. I believe he ended up with around 41 and 15. It felt like a million and a million. He was absolutely dominant. Got to give some love to the performance of Joshua Jefferson in that game. And finally, the drama. There were 3 buzzer beaters in this game. There was a buzzer beater at the end of the game from half court by class of 2024 shooting guard Ryder Elizalde that didn't count. And by the way, if you were there and you were watching it live and you thought it was count, shame on you, because that was way late. But it was still a remarkable shot. He hit it from half court. The entire place was up for grabs. The entire gym became unglued. Everyone ran on the court, only to be told shortly that it didn't count. Whether it counted or not, it was still a remarkable shot. And as I talked to Coach Bobby from the Bishop Gorman staff, he was quick to remind me that Gorman practices that in every practice. Then it was future Northern Arizona player Ryan Abelman coming up with a cold-blooded three-pointer to tie the game in overtime. Abelman, who has transformed his game tremendously his senior year, made one of the best shots and biggest shots in perhaps his Bishop Gorman career. And then finally, what can you say about the last shot or the play of class of 2024 guard John Mobley Jr.? It says a lot that on a team this talented that Coach Rice would draw up the last play for him, and he's going to take us through the end.
Coach set up a play for me to come off the slice. I was thinking scoring. I wanted to hit this shot. Came off. I knew the defender was going to go for the fake. Went for the fake and shot it.
And finally, I don't want to forget Darian Williams, who took home the Tart Classic MVP. And in fact, he took home the Torrey Pines MVP a week later. And as far as I know, Williams is the only person that's ever won both Tart Classic and Torrey Pines MVP in the same season. As if that wasn't enough, the 6'6" small forward also picked up an offer from Montana. And I've been talking to Coach Rice for the last couple of days, and he's let me know that there are a lot of schools right now that have picked up interest in Darian Williams. So I would say to them, they better jump on now because the kid's going to be a hot commodity. So that's a lot. Wrapping up a great holiday weekend. When we come back, we're going to break down this wild and wacky 4A conference. Welcome back. Where do we start? The 4A conference, as many of you know, this year consists of only Las Vegas-based teams. And then when it comes to parity, this has been the absolute motto of parity throughout the season. Just to give you an idea, currently there are 7 teams that are in the 4A conference with 8 wins. And did you know that every single one of those 7 teams has a minimum of 4 losses? That doesn't even include a team like Valley that sits at 6-2 and already has a big time win over Spring Valley. I know, and I can already hear you coaches and fans out there saying, but we beat so and so or we beat so and so. Okay, well, let's play the old barroom game of who beat who to see who's number one. So, are you aware that Sunrise Mountain beat El Dorado, who beat Chap, who beat Centennial, who beat Desert Oasis, who beat Cheyenne, who beat last week's number one Las Vegas? So, by default, the number one team in 4A should be Sunrise Mountain. Now, that's no disrespect to Coach Van Orden and the guys at Sunrise, but currently they only have 2 wins on the season, and that just goes to show you the level of parity in the 4A conference this year. So who's number one? Spoiler alert, this week's 4A number one team is going to be the Bonanza Bengals. That's right, I am on the Bonanza bandwagon. Coach Jermon Riley has done a phenomenal job. While many of the top teams are out there looking for size, scoring, and production, Bonanza actually has 2 guys on their team that can get their own in the aforementioned Carson Roberts and Silas Gray. This team suffered a lot of turnover right before the start of the season, yet Coach Riley has done a tremendous job of keeping them focused, together, and they are a serious threat. I mentioned their run to the championship game of the Las Vegas Prep Classic. What I really love about them is they're one of the few complete teams in 4A. I believe truly to win at basketball at any level, you need solid point guard play, you need wing scoring, and you're going to have a big. Well, they have all 3. Point guard Carson Roberts has been terrific for him. Silas Gray is one of the best 1v1 offensive weapons we have in 4A. And my man, the Big E Ephraim, I will not butcher your last name, he has been terrific, giving them some inside interior defense as well as running the floor and finishing around the rim. And here's another fact for you. Again, I know everyone loves to go out and post and claim that things are facts, and it's really cool to use terms like no cap, but here's an actual fact. The Bonanza Bengals are currently 5-0 against 4A opponents this season. All their losses have come from teams that are either in the 5A conference here in Nevada or out of state. This team has done a tremendous job. They've played good competition, and they've beaten good competition, and that's why they currently stand as my number one team. Coach Riley talks about the success that they've had this season.
Yeah, it's fortitude. You know, they have a no-quit mentality. They continue to play for each other. It's bigger than them.
Well, that's it for me. I will be at Cheyenne versus Legacy tonight. I got to get a look at the Red Hot Desert Shield, as well as a couple of my guys that are in the rankings there for Legacy, including Marcus Lawson and Antonio Burns, REA Swoops. Tomorrow night, catch me at Foothill versus Arborview. Hey, shout out to Coach Dustin Clayton and the Arborview Aggies. This guy goes under the radar for his coaching ability, but he's done a fabulous job, in my opinion, this year with basically a brand new program at Arborview that he's taken over. They host Foothill tomorrow night. This weekend, I'm going to be in Phoenix covering games for Session 1 of the PEC6 Conference. The PEC6 Conference is the longest running prep post-grad conference in America. This week's games will feature teams from TaylorMade Prep, Balboa Prep in San Diego, Future College Prep, Cooper International from LA, and Middlebrooks Academy. There should be some tremendous prospects. All the games from the PEC6 League will be live streamed on the 7-Ounce channel. The link to the channel as well as the registration tutorial will be displayed in the links here below. As always, you can follow me at 7-Ounce B-Ball Club 1 on Twitter. Go to IG and find Bruce Prep Hoops. Go to that Prep Hoops Nevada Facebook page and give me a like. And if you are looking for high-quality streaming service for your next event, contact me by email at 7ounceballclub@gmail.com. As always, if you can't find me there, you can catch me in the gym.